My name is Jackie Goddard. Performing arts is what I love to do. I have been an actor and a designer and a costume maker. I am now a director, producer, performance coach. Where does imagination come from? Well, imagination is within everybody, isn't it? We all have the ability to imagine things. But I think to use it effectively, you need to be able to daydream. You need to be able to procrastinate, which I love. It gives you the opportunity to actually live inside your head and immerse yourself in sort of fantasy. And so your imagination then colours your thoughts. Being on the stage for some people is quite scary. So to be on a stage is something that you need to prepare for. What I love about performing arts is that process. There are lots and lots of things that are beneficial from the process of getting to a stage. The opportunity to work with other people is a big part of it. So you are developing relationships all the way through. You're learning how to interact with the other actors as themselves, but also as their characters. So in the process of getting to the stage and putting that production on, there are lots and lots of different disciplines that you need to go through to get there. And a lot of that is the fact that you are part of an ensemble. So you are responsible for looking after yourself and other people and bringing that show together and bringing that production to the stage so that it's ready to show an audience. But once you're on the stage and you are prepared, then yes, I think it gives you a sense of freedom and validation as well. Helping people find their confidence and their voice, apart from just the practice and rehearsal, is just that process of playing and giving people permission to just let go. So what you're trying to do is to take people back to childhood when you just went, let's play and pretend. I'll be a nurse and you be the patient, and you just play. And through that process and acting rehearsals, there's lots of games, and that's not just because actors like playing games. It is a way of relaxing people. You need to be relaxed in order to take on other characters. You almost need to be so relaxed in an environment that you can, if you have to take on that you're a murderer, you may never have murdered anybody in your life. But if that's the character you need to play, somehow you need to get rid of yourself. You need to get rid of, it might be that you have a certain way of walking, you have a certain way of speaking within the rehearsal room, within that play, within the environment where you improvise, you devise, you make things up. It's all about getting rid of the person that makes you you, because you have to become somebody else. And so that helps with building confidence, because hopefully once you've gone through that process, then you become uncluttered in a way, so you can move into another character and take on somebody else's story. Improvisation is very, very interesting, and improvisation really is the basis of all acting and all life, really, because we are all improvising all the time. I speak to you, you have no idea what I'm going to say, and somehow you have to react. And improvisation that's what it is. So to have the opportunity to just act and just make up characters on the spot, put yourself in situations that you've never been in before. It is a great, fun way of coming up with characters and stories. Lots of films come from devised pieces that have been made up and have started from improvisations. Mike Leigh is a classic director whose work, there's not a script for any of Mike Leigh's plays and films, as far as I know. They are all improvised in the rehearsal room and developed in that way. And so it's more naturalistic. You have a more naturalistic style, and it is fun. I mean, it just is. I've never laughed so hard at watching people either doing improvisation or people watching other people doing improvisation. I mean, it's just because it's so spontaneous, and I think that's what I love about improvisation, and I think that's why everybody should have a go. It's taking people out of their comfort zone. Nobody wants to do it, but once you've done it, it's a thrill. It's one of those joyous things because you don't know what's gonna happen, what's gonna come out. I mean, I do a process with my actors sometimes called hot seating. And that is taking them and have a character from a script that is there, it's written for them, the lines are written for them, but there's a whole subtext that isn't written. So there's a whole backstory that isn't written. And so as an actor, you need to find that character. And what is great sometimes is to put somebody in a seat and say, right, you are now that character. Close your eyes, imagine how you got to this point in your life. You know, what's your upbringing? Who did you live with? What was your education? All those sort of things. Okay. And then I start interviewing them as that person. And it is amazing what comes out because people just suddenly, it's like channeling, I think, or something. It just suddenly all starts coming out of their mouth. And it's quite inspirational what can happen with improvisation. I think definitely people should take part in performances. I think there is something to be said about putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. And certainly with students that have come to me to do Finding Your Voice, where they have no desire to act, they have no desire to stand up and perform, but they know they have a need to actually be heard. So whether that might be in a classroom situation, whether it might be doing a presentation at work. Finding your voice is a way of passing on a few techniques and skills of the professional acting world to people that don't want to act or have the desire to act, but would just like to be either to be able to project their voices slightly better. They may feel in their own heads that their voice is too high or too low. It's just making people aware of how they breathe and what their voice is and what it does, because we do it so automatically that nobody teaches you how to project, how to speak in a way as to be heard, and so people just get into habits. They speak the way that they have always spoken, not realizing that actually there are things that you can do to improve your voice, to improve the loudness or your projection of your voice. And people don't understand that they have this huge range. People get stuck in a rut. And so over the process of a course, or even if it's just a 2-hour session, you can go through those processes, and people can go away with some tools to actually help them. I don't think we do play enough as adults, and I suppose that's not surprising, because so much else to do, family life, just it's surviving. People have to make a living, they have to work, they have to take the kids to school, they have to keep a relationship going, they have to cook food. All those things are bound to get in the way, and so playing just gets forgotten. It might happen once a year at Christmas, that you get a board game out and maybe you'll play. But actually, I know certainly from my class that I have weekly, that I've had adults come into my drama class for 3-4 years, and that's what they do. They come because we're there and we're playing, and it's their opportunity to play. And as much as I'm challenging them with all sorts of different things to do, we do a little bit of improvisation. They get to make stuff up. Today we've been cutting up interviews that they did. We recorded interviews of their Christmas, and they've been cutting up the sentences, and we've been mucking about with them and stuff. But it just it gives people an opportunity to play, and we certainly don't have that opportunity in everyday life.